This is Ashley from Diamond Press Design Team. I am going to show you how to put together the Pop-Up Heart Flowers kit. This is such a fun, unique, and versatile kit that can be used for all occasions. I don't know about you, but I am a visual learner, and sometimes it's easier to follow a video over written instructions. So if that's you, please keep watching this video for how to put together this 3D kit. This stamp set comes with 4 different flower stamp options, 2 with a curved edge and 2 that kind of come to a point, and there's a die that matches each of those 2 options. Keep that in mind when you are deciding which ones you want to use. So for this project, we need to cut out 7 of the same flowers. Very important with this kit is to use lightweight paper. We don't want to use that really thick, luxurious paper that we tend to reach for. We want to use really thin paper. This paper that I am using here is just slightly thicker than like printer paper, copy paper that you would use. Next, I've stamped out all 7 flowers and started to die cut them out. When stamping, make sure that you leave a little extra space around each stamp for the die cut. There is a blank petal that gets cut out with each flower. You can see right here, so don't stamp them too close to one another. One thing that I love about the marquee is that it's great for left and right-handed people. I am a lefty and I use it both ways, just depending on what I need to hold here or there. So it's super handy. Since we're using thin paper, if you wanted to line up all your stamps one right under the other, you could cut out several at a time. The marquee can totally handle that, especially with this thinner paper. Okay, so I've stamped everything out, and now the next step tells us to start gluing the flowers together. So the first thing that I like to do is just reinforce those score lines that the flower die made, and that will just help give the paper some memory for when it's going to be folded into the card. So I'm going to go through each petal and do that, and then I'm going to glue. I'll show you here how I'm going to glue this one. I want to put some liquid glue over the whole petal. I am using my Diamond Press liquid glue. I love this stuff, but you just want to make sure that you get a little bit of glue over the whole area, because we don't want our flowers coming apart, especially when the recipient of these cards are going to be opening and closing them. We want it to be a nice sturdy looking card. So make sure you get all that done. Once you're done, then go ahead and just kind of flatten them out. It doesn't matter which way, just kind of try to give them a little flat, kind of turn them into a book. And once you have all of those done, we are going to start putting them together. Okay, for this we're going to want to use a tape adhesive. Liquid is going to be a little messy for this, and we might get it places that we don't want it to be. I'm going to use a pen to mark where we're going to put adhesive. It's going to be different for each petal. So for this first petal, we're just going to put it on the 2 outside halves. And I am always going to be working from one side. I'm not going to be flipping the petals back and forth. The instructions that come with show it back and forth, and this one I'm very easily just going to show you how to build your flower from one side. So I am taking off my first layer of adhesive with my trusty tweezers, and then I'm going to show you how we will adhere our next layer. We're going to take one flower and adhere the edge of that to the edge of where we just put our tape adhesive and connect where those score lines are. Same thing with the bottom half. Alright, so now we have our first layer built. For our next layer, I'm going to go ahead and show you again with the pen where we want to mark it. For this next one, we're going to mark the middle 3 petals. So again, I'm going to put a little strip of my tape adhesive right over those pen marks. It can go all the way across that top petal. We just don't want it coming towards the center of the flower. Okay, so here's what we're going to do to adhere this. We're going to take our next petal and just put all 3 parts of that petal over all 3 parts of our adhesive. So that step is done, and then I'm going to get my pen out again and show you where we want to put the next layer. We are going to start by marking the second one up and the third one up, and then the same on the opposite side, second one up and third one up. So we're leaving the 2 outside ones and the middle one alone. I'm going to take my tape adhesive again and just go over those spots just on the top of the petals. Alright, our next step, we are going to use 2 of our flowers. So again, we're only putting adhesive on those pen marks, but it's going to cover all 3 of those top petal parts and all 3 of those bottom petal parts. And we are almost done with our flower. Our last step, we're going to put adhesive on those middle 3 center petals. Again, adhesive can go all the way across on each one. And then we are going to put our last flower right over that center part. So each 3 of those middle petals covers the middle flower we're about to add here on it. And we have finally finished building our flower. And so you can test it out here, open it up and close it, kind of like an accordion. You can see underneath why it's important that we don't put adhesive all the way down. We want that flexibility in the flower. Okay, our next step is going to be cutting out some little leaves to add a little bit of a embellishment around our flower. This is totally optional. It gives it a nice look though. So I'm going to use that same lightweight paper that I used for my flower petals. So I went ahead and stamped and die cut out all those leaves. I did 4 for this one. You can adhere your leaves to the flower in different spots than I'm doing, but if you want to continue following along to see where I decided to adhere those down, you sure can. I'm going to use a pen just like before to kind of keep it the same way. So for this one, I am going to put it on that 3rd petal and the 2nd from the bottom petal. Important thing to note with this is you don't want any of your adhesive to come outside of that. So I'm using a liquid adhesive and just making sure my petal goes completely over that. We don't want the flower sticking to the card in weird spots where it's not supposed to. So keep note of that. So I did flip over my flower petal so I can put on the leaves on the other side, and I noted where I put those. When I did this here, that bottom leaf that I'm putting on right now, I did kind of have it in direction going out a little bit. I did have to correct that there, you can see, to make it fit right in the fold just right. So I'm checking that everything fits just right, and when we are adhering our flower to our card, we only are adhering it in 2 spots. So I noted that here with my pen. So I'm going back to my tape adhesive. This is the back side, so I did flip my flower over and adhering it to the back. And now I'm back to the front side. Same spot, using some of my tape adhesive. And then I'm just going to push my card down on top of it. And since we're using tape adhesive for this, it's already done right away. There's no drying time. So now you can see how fun this card is. And the possibilities are endless of how you could decorate the inside. I just went simple for this one so I can show you the technique of how to put it together. And I added some flowers to the front of the card and a little sentiment to put it all together. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it's super helpful for making this card.